sustained our nation over that time and protected us in periods of darkness are the brave men and women of America's Army who nobly step up, raise their right hand, and say that they will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and stand on the line between us and those who would do us harm. Over the generations, we have been able to depend on their bravery, their dedication, and their self-sacrifice time and time again. This generation is certainly no different. The young men and women, many who are sitting here today, of this generation, have been asked to perform on battlefields in Iraq and Afghanistan, standing up against the forces of terror, home and abroad. Without their willingness to give their all, if required, America would be nothing but a footnote in history, a place that held great promise once upon a time. Among the most solemn and meaningful honors that can be presented to a member of our country's armed forces is the Purple Heart. This award represents true sacrifice and goes to our most valiant warriors who placed themselves in harm's way for the good of the country and their comrades. They fought and were wounded for all of us in dedication to the principles that continue to make this the greatest country in the world. Today we are honoring a particularly brave individual. Sergeant Brandon Gettings joined the Army in April of 2009. He joined as a combat engineer, 12 Bravo. He was assigned to the 14th Engineer Battalion, Little Rugged, out of Fort Lewis, Washington. He deployed to Afghanistan in July of 2011 with the 22nd Engineer Clearance Company and started executing route clearance operations immediately in Regional Command South. The week of 12 January 2012, Sergeant Gettings' unit was doing route clearance in the Mae-Wan province. That week, his vehicle was struck by 3 different IEDs. The last IED strike, the one that he believes gave him traumatic brain injury, hit the rollers of his RG-31, to which he was the driver. He jumped out of his seat with his TC. They chained up the rollers and continued the mission, as you would expect. The IED was a mine on top of 3 jugs of HME. For those of us that are familiar with IEDs, we know that that particular type makes a pretty big explosion. Later that night, he was checked out and told he needed more testing for his concussion. When I asked Sergeant Gettings what he liked most about his Army experience, he told me it was the mission. Knowing that his team was out there making a difference, keeping the roads safe for those of us that relied on their special ability to clear the roads. Spoken like a true soldier and a hero in my mind, always thinking of others before thinking of himself. Currently, Sergeant Gettings is stationed here at Fort Hood with HHC Brigade, but his heart remains in Tucson with his wife, Brandy, and their 3 children. He'll be joining them very soon as he departs the military in the next couple of days. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and my humbling honor to present Sergeant Brandon Gettings, the Purple Heart.
The Purple Heart is being presented to Sergeant Brandon C. Gettings for injuries sustained on 12 January 2012 while conducting route clearance operations in the Milam district of Kandahar, Afghanistan. Attention to order. By order of the President of the United States of America, the Purple Heart established by General George Washington is awarded to Sergeant Brandon C. Gettings, who was received in action during Operation Enduring Freedom, given under my hand in the city of Washington this 3rd day of October 2014, signed John Q., Secretary of the Army. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the Purple Heart Medal.